So Jack Carr's popular novel has now been turned into an Amazon Prime original series. Does it work? Find out next in Movie Emporium's reviews. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's TV review of the Amazon Prime original series, The Terminal List. This series is created by DiGilio. Now, just to let you know, before we actually begin this review, this is a spoiler-filled review, so I will be giving away major plot details of this actual particular series, so just be aware before we get into it. So, like I said before, the Terminal List is, of course, based off the Jack Carr novel. It's a 8-episode, hour-long each episode series, and it stars Chris Pratt as a character named James Reese, who, in this story, is a commander of a SEAL team. They are actually tasked to go take down a major operative individual who's caused a lot of terrorism issues, and in the process of everything that's happened, there is an explosion, a bunch of his members are killed, and he is basically discharged to come back to America because of the situation of the PTSD, the fact that he was involved with the bomb blast, and basically as the story plays out, he is given by his commanding staff and the doctors this delusional idea that he not only did not see what he thinks he saw, but he is actually dealing with such traumatic PTSD that is causing like a distortion of reality. But as the story plays along, the reality might be true, and the people behind it that are lying to him may be part of this plot of a particular situation. And on top of everything, his family is killed, and therefore he goes on a vendetta quest to take down every single person he believes is involved with this conspiracy that is going on. The Terminal List is another individual property that Chris Pratt is involved with. He's an individual that has garnered a huge popularity presence through stuff like the Lego Movie and the Jurassic World series, and of course Parks and Recreation. And he's an individual that has been seen to be oversaturated recently between the Tomorrow War, the Jurassic World series, and just everything he's involved with, even Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not like it's his fault. He just picks roles that are given to him, and he likes what he does. But I've never really felt like he is giving enough weight to his material. He doesn't do anything that's really interesting to me personally, and it's just the unfortunate shame of being oversaturated. So when I saw the trailer for this series, The Terminal List, and I got a lot of flack for it, I felt that it was very conventional, at least from the trailer. I thought it was going to be very pedestrian, and the fact that it was a TV series worried me some, because if you've seen the Tomorrow War, that movie's only like a couple hours long, and it overstays its welcome. So Chris Pratt doing a conspiracy-laden thriller where he's playing like a very serious individual, and just the kind of nuances that Chris Pratt's known for, I just didn't feel like the series was going to be for me, to be personally honest. And so, like I've already said, I will be spoiling this series because it's a spoiler review. That's why it's premiering on July 1st when the series premieres. And to get down to my honest review of the series, like I said about my trailer reacts, this isn't a very good series. Thanks to Amazon, of course, for allowing me to see this, but it's another attempt to make a corporate conspiracy thriller, to make the military out to be like the worst military in the world. It's a story, like, once again, that it takes characters and is very predictable in its storytelling. It offers nothing new to the table. You know exactly where it's going to lead, and this is a spoiler review, so I'm going to talk about that. But the other major problem is this story is filled with very boring, bland people. The actors in this movie or in the show are trying, I guess, but Chris Pratt is, once again, he maybe needs a new agent, because the properties he's getting are, they're making a lot of money, but they're not worth their weight in gold or salt or whatever you want to call it. Riley Keough's in this show, and she's pretty good as an actress, but she's given really nothing to work with. The daughter's given nothing to work with. Taylor Kitsch, who was aimed to be a leading actor in his own right, is just, I don't know if he's not very good at acting. I don't know if he's not very good in the roles he's given. But when you're the brother in arms, and you just feel like another secondary character that really doesn't have any purpose until the very end of the series, I guess maybe, I don't know, but it just doesn't work. And then on top of that, Gunn, who actually worked with Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy, is in this, and he's one note. Courtney is Courtney, and he never seems to have any interesting roles outside maybe Suicide Squad. Celia Ward plays like the main lead politician, I guess you could say, and her portrayal in this series is very predictable as well. It's a very predictable series. It does very predictable things. Even Constance Wu, who is shown to be a really talented actress, just feels, once again, one note. That is this series' main problem. It's all one note people doing very predictable stuff and just doing it in a way that is very just bland. That's just how you got to look at it. And here we go with the spoiler stuff. This is a story about a guy who was basically in a what I think it was called City and Sword or something like that. It was an ops that was to take down a guy. He basically comes back. All his teammates are killed except for the one guy who ends up killing himself. So on and so forth. And he basically goes on a vendetta quest, and each episode is a vendetta quest to take down each individual person that basically has lied to him, that has been involved with the killing of his family. And it basically is just one long 10-hour chase sequence, or one 10-hour gun down sequence where it's like a final boss at the end. But because Chris Pratt's character is a Navy SEAL commander, it doesn't really, they don't really hold up much weight of being like the true bad guys. I mean, even Courtney, who plays off that he's going to be like this super badass soldier, this super badass, commander of sorts in this company that was supplying this drug, which is an R&D or an RDNA drug of some sort. I can't remember the number of what it was called, but he shows up in this, I think in the second or third episode, and is killed off by the sixth episode. It just doesn't lead for much like hope for Courtney's character. Once again, spoiler, but he dies pretty easily in this series, and that's the problem. Like every single individual who you think is a badass ends up dying, and they're like, the more and more the story leads on, the more and more you find out that there's another person, and there's another person, and there's another person, and it leads to Celia Ward's Harley character, who is, like I said, the politician, who you think, I knew where this was going, but you were made to believe that she is like the crusader, the white knight of the story, and really she is just the problem of the story. She's just another character that helped with this RDNA program that caused tumors in these brains of these soldiers. That's what the problem with Chris Pratt's character is. He has a tumor, which is causing him to like have visions of his family. There's this one running scene throughout the entire season where the bird crashes in the window. Daughter asks, what's going on? Is the bird dead? He can't really answer until the end of the series, that type of thing. And there's a lot of that going on, but Celia Ward's character helped with the also admiral, that is the main admiral that talks to Chris Pratt's character, as well as Chris Pratt's James Reese's, platoon leader when they were in Navy SEAL training. And all these things, like different people that you see that are main characters, are all involved in this RDNA project. And it's so predictable with what's going on that I predicted it from the very beginning. I predicted Celia Ward was going to be a bad guy. I predicted the Admiral was a bad guy. I predicted everybody. I mean, Sean Gunn and, of course, Courtney's character were always going to be bad guys because you can tell when you're watching it. But they're trying to misdirect you into thinking, oh, Celia Ward and this Admiral are just people that are part of the system or something like that. And they try. And, of course, Constance Wu's detective or news reporter character becomes part of the mix. She becomes involved with James Reese's character. She is kind of finding that story, and then she finds at the end, of course, about this conspiracy that's going on. But as the show moves along, you see the beats coming. You see when he's going to infiltrate, the houses of, these people, how he's going to kill them. They do some things that are interesting when it comes to how he kills them with like overdosing, or, he sets off like this kind of cool bomb that kills Courtney's character, and of course, all that type of thing. And then of course it gets to the end as the brain tumor is starting to affect him and stuff like that. He of course gets hurt. He has the FBI or the local law enforcement who play major roles in this, which are just kind of stupid caricatures of characters and stuff like that. And they, at the end of this, when Celia Ward, of course, she commits suicide, and of course the Constance Wu character gets the whole story. The main lead detective, who has kind of been running through like 4 or 5 episodes, basically allows James Reese's character to leave and stuff like that. And I'm kind of skipping over like a lot of this stuff because there really isn't what I would call major stuff to talk about. It's very pedestrian, very traditional what James Reese is doing. Yes, he's really good at what he does, so now he's like a super soldier, so he does get hurt, but he still feels like he's like the Terminator, where don't get in his way, don't cause the problem, and you won't be hurt. And it's that type of thing where it's just like, okay, of course there's like the Admiral and the underwriter guy that works underneath the Admiral, who he's forced to wear a Claymore bomb, which has little bullet pellets and stuff like that referentiate the whole idea of the amount of people they've killed, which is 14. So there's like 1,400 bullets, each representing 100 bullets or whatever. And that's a really cool kind of sequence because you kind of don't see it coming until the end. But it's stuff like that has some glimmer of hope. And you have like Antoine Fuqua directing it in the first episode, and you you know, you have a couple big name directors and you have a writing team that is trying to make something unique, but there's just nothing unique there. Once again, it feels like a Tom Clancy, even though it's a Jack Carr story. It feels like Tom Clancy with the whole, like I said, conspiracy and stuff like that. But the worst kind of offender about this series is the eventual conclusion to the series, which I saw coming from a mile away. Taylor Kitsch, once again, like I said, really is trying to do interesting stuff, I guess you could say. He's an actor that really wants to have some kind of career and just never found that footing that he wants. You know, John Carter from Mars is a perfect example where he seemed like he was perfect for it, or Battleship. They're just like poorly directed films and stuff like that. So when you get to like Friday Night Lights, which he was in, he was perfectly fine, but he was more of a supporting cast of that series or movie, unlike where they're trying to make him the leading man, and here he plays second fiddle or second command to, of course, Chris Pratt's character. You know, when it leads to everything, including to like the major, you know, money men and who's going to profit off this, when you find out it's Taylor Kitsch, if you don't see that coming, you have to kind of rethink what you're watching, because he is an individual that is set up to be the main character that's going to betray James Reese. He seems like a character that's going to be involved in some way, and then he's going to make excuses about how he didn't want the family to die, his family to die, and it just he didn't think this was going to happen. And I'm like, once again, that's a stereotypical character. It's like he's not pleading for his life. He knows he's going to die, but he just makes excuses for, you know, $20 million that he made off of it. Like that's gonna, you know, make James Reese forgive him, which, you know, it's not going to. And it's just a very poorly written character. It's poorly done. It doesn't make any sense. And it just, when it comes down to everything, it feels like a boss battle that isn't very well put together. It's like if you took Mario Brothers or something like that, or, you know, any series, Legend of Zelda, and you just put the worst, like, underpowered bosses in it, and that's what this is. It feels like a video game where we're not controlling it, we're just watching the cutscenes, and the cutscenes are just poorly put together, and it just, in the end, I just felt the series was so undermining and so just undervalued when it came to an interesting series. It just has nothing to offer, and it's such a shame. I mean, there are people who will enjoy this show, which is perfectly all right, because it's the purpose of TV and movies. Everybody has a difference of opinion, but I just feel like there's better conspiracy shows out there. I feel like there's better shows that deal with, you know, PTSD and drug manipulation, and there was stuff like The Mauritanian, or once again, The Maturing Candidate, which I feel do a much better job than this series does in this 10 hours. They do in like a couple hours, and that's such a shame. I don't think this series should have been a series, maybe 3 or 4 episodes at most, because it really does drag a lot, especially when there's, like, you know, they're on the hill of they're chasing after James Reese and there's an explosion, or there's a point where they travel down to, I think, I want to say Colombia or Mexico or something like that, and there's a big shootout, which has been done a billion times before. And I think when you boil it down to it, when you get down to the nuts and bolts, it's just a very pedestrian, very predictable, very just kind of vanilla show with really nothing new to offer. And yeah, it just really wasn't a very good experience, to be fairly honest. I watched it. I did have some, you know, it was definitely a little entertaining, but I knew at the end of the day, this was going to be a series that is going to be forgettable. You're not going to remember a week from now because it comes out on the same day. And in the end, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It really is not very good. 5 out of 10 is very, very generous to me personally. And yeah, I hopefully Chris Pratt can get something somewhere down the road that is a little more entertaining. Maybe he'll find some better projects, but he is hitting strikeouts left and right. You know, that's just how I feel, and I don't feel this does him any justice, no matter if he's playing dramatic or not. So, anyways, 5 out of 10 for my spoiler-filled review of The Terminal List. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, what did you think overall of the series? If you liked it or if you did not like it, let me know in the comments. I hope, you know, maybe you agree with me. Let me know. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.